Welcome friends to another r/I don't work here lady video. As always, if you find you enjoy this video, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And our first story of the day is by Dark909911. I don't work here, but that's my daughter. She does. Sitting with my kids and grandkids, we got to talking about different things in our lives when my daughter reminded me of this one. I asked if I could post it and she said yes. Around 5 years ago, my eldest daughter used to work for one of the local grocery stores as a cashier. I'm not trying to brag here, but my daughter is beautiful. She was going to be a model, but has a heart condition, and the stress of the job would be too much for her. Even after 3 kids, she's only 52.1 kilos, 115 pounds for the US readers, at 1.5 meters tall, 5'8" with long dark hair. Almost black, but not quite. And eyes so dark, it's hard to see her pupils unless the light hits her eyes just right. People involved were, no real names, my daughter Annie, mouthy idiot, store manager, and a tiny part, me. One day I was done shopping and waiting in line and was 2 people behind the one at the cash register my daughter was working at. By this time I can see the look on her face and know she's getting a hard time. I only had a few items, maybe 3 or 4, so I asked the lady ahead of me if she minded me skipping ahead. She moved over and let me pass without a fuss. I thanked her, then turned my attention to my daughter and this guy at her till, ready to go into protective dad mode. At this time, I was about to say something to this mouthy idiot. He'd been hitting on Annie and flirting, and when that didn't work, he started commenting on her body. That's when I moved forward in the line. I'm glad she got her mouth from her mother because she let the guy have it. She told him how disgusting he is, how he's an embarrassment to all real men, and many other things only those who worked in retail have to put up with. The mouthy idiot could have left at any time, but stood there like a child getting scolded from a teacher in elementary school and took it all. Annie didn't raise her voice, but leaned over the pin pad for a debit card, looking him square in the eyes the entire time. At this time, her manager came over to find out what's going on, so Annie repeats many of the things this guy said to her, and the manager's in the process of telling this mouthy idiot that he's no longer welcome in the store. I leaned over and said quietly in his ear, "I can't wait to welcome you to the parking lot." I'm not a small man, but no giant either. I'm 6'3", I'm 1.8 meters tall, 6'3", and 102 kilos, 225 pounds, but he was only up to my shoulders tall and nearly half my weight. I didn't seem to scare him at first because he squared up to me looking up and asked, "Who are you, security?" And he spoke before I had the chance and said so sweetly, "Hi, Daddy." I said, "Hi, baby girl." At this, the entire front of the store, workers and customers alike, watched as this mouthy idiot ran out of the store. The funniest part was he left all his groceries and his debit card behind. He had to come back for it sometime later. And he never got in any trouble, not even a talking to. The manager was 100% on her side, and the mouthy idiot was banned for a year. I could mention here, the manager and Annie are best friends outside work and take vacations together, both families. But is that really important? I'm proud to have helped raise a strong woman and a force to be trifled with. In your guys' opinions, if anybody's in the checkout line, is it acceptable to ask the cashier on a date? I'm not saying flirting or anything, I'm just saying asking them out. Or is it just weird and too much considering they're a cashier and they're just doing their job? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Our next story is by Real Crazy Chicken. I don't work here, I just want to pet your dog. So earlier today I was at a restaurant waiting for my food. My mom had the bright idea for me and my dad to go to the shop next door while we wait. I see a woman with a dog, so using the newest Spanish phrase I learned, I live in Mexico, I say, "Can I pet your dog?" The woman replies, "Sí." So I crouch down and pet the super nice dog. Then the woman shoved the dog's leash at me. I was super confused, but took the leash. The woman then proceeded to head into the store, an open air one as most are in Mexico. I then realized she thought I worked there, and I kindly held onto the dog. When she came out of the store, I tried to give her the leash back, but she ignored me. I then said, "Excuse me," whilst thinking, finally I can post on r/I don't work here lady. She then took her dog back. To make matters even stranger, I went back to the restaurant and went back to sipping my drink. Then I saw the same dog with a different person. What? I don't know what's going on here. I guess they're playing a game of back and forth with the same dog. Maybe that's an endorsement for the restaurant. Maybe it's that good that the lady has to go back multiple times. And you can't leave Fido behind, can ya? Our next story is by Ancient Educator 76. You're cleaning up wrong. Oh, how the turntables. This happened to me in the early 2000s. I worked for Safeway for a little bit now, but I was at a Fry's grocery store, Safeway's natural enemy in the Southwest, carrying a handbasket of groceries, wearing a Suns jersey. I think Robert Horry non-ironically, though people took it that way. So I obviously didn't work there. So anyway, this lady with a handful of kids drops a jar of Alfredo sauce and it makes a surprisingly big mess of broken glass and sauce that's the same color as the floor. A lady right next to her says, "Oh, for Christ's sakes," while I, out of pure grocer instinct, take my items, syrup, Bisquick, 6-pack of Bud, not Bud Light cause I'm a man, and make a border blocking off the broken glass. I was trained to do this by Safeway corporate to block off dangerous situations with whatever I could until we get a mop bucket and signage. As soon as I start putting the stuff on the floor, of Christ's sakes lady starts in on me saying, "What the freak are you doing? You can't just do that, that's beer for Christ's sakes." She loved that phrase evidently. Meanwhile, store employees are coming over while the lady with kids is pulling glass out of her ankle, and of Christ's sakes lady stands there with a hand on her hip and her other hand extended, as if to say, "Look at this crap that just happened." I'm using the box of Bisquick to scoop the glass more centralized while blocking that side with my body. The store manager's there telling me, "Oh sir, you don't need to do that, we'll clean." Then Christ's sakes lady pipes in saying, "That's exactly what I was trying." Then manager interrupts her interruption by saying, "Look Mildred, we've already had this discussion, stop by my office, I'll be there in a minute." All the while the store manager is trying to make sure the lady and kids are okay. Then Mildred says, "Well, I'm obviously off the clock, but alright, I'll..." The store manager says, "Just don't come back except to drop off your name tags and scan card." Mildred says, "I can't believe this. That jerk's cleaning it wrong. He didn't get a marker. He doesn't even work here." Huh, now she doesn't either. Update, store manager wound up talking to me about how I learned to do that with spills, and eventually asking me how Safeway was treating me, and 3 months later, I was given a shot at front-end manager. After the incident report was finished, of course. That shard of glass wouldn't have gotten into the poor woman's foot if Mildred didn't overreact. I must admit it's a little surprising that even if you're off the clock or even if it's a place you don't work at, you'd be so willing to just drop what you're doing, grab your groceries and start piling it around the glass, as the way Safeway taught you to do. It just seems so wholesomely beyond what most normal people would seem to do, but maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. This next story is by Oh No, It's Back. Someone thought I worked at McDonald's. This happened years ago when I worked at Taco Bell, so it had been a long day and I finally got my lunch break and decided to walk across the street from McDonald's instead cause I ate at Taco Bell all the time and obviously wanted something different. I'm wearing a very loud Taco Bell uniform shirt and a visor that says Taco Bell on it. I go up and order my food and sit down to eat. This is when some Karen a few tables down started venting to her friend that it's unacceptable that they let the workers eat at the tables with the customers. This goes on for a while and I'm trying to ignore her, but I can tell she's working herself up. Then she walks up to me, oh boy. She says, "Excuse me, why are you eating here?" I say, "It's my lunch break." She says, "You should be eating in the back of the kitchen where you belong. It's disrespectful to the customers and you're taking up tables they could be eating at." I look around kinda confused cause the place isn't close to full. And I say, "What do you mean?" Karen, getting exasperated, says, "Look, just eat in the back with the rest of the McDonald's employees." I turn my visor to her so she can see that I'm from Taco Bell, not McDonald's, and I say, "I don't work here, lady, and you're rude as heck." Karen turns white and skitters back to her table, grabs her food, and leaves. Maybe next time she won't make a spectacle of herself. I don't get why it would be disgraceful for an employee to eat at a table in a fast food place. Are you honestly going to McDonald's and expecting a high dining experience? Maybe even I just care less than more people, but I feel like if I saw a McDonald's employee sitting at a table eating some food, I'd be like, huh, must be off his break. Anyways, can I get a blah blah blah? Like, I wouldn't care as long as my service wasn't impacted. This next story is by Whoa Vibes. Little kid sucks at laser tag, mom wants me fired. So when I was in high school, a friend, my crush, and I got really into laser tag. Inspired from the hit TV show How I Met Your Mother, we wanted to be the Barney and Robin of the local laser tag place. One time when we were there, I had the weirdest I don't work here lady experience. So as I'm running around kicking laser butt, I actually suck so bad at laser tag. This kid was getting on everyone's nerves. He'd chase you right behind you and keep shooting you till he got bored and moved on to his next target. A note, with this place you wore a vest with sensors, and when you got shot all the lights would flash red and your blaster wouldn't work for like 5 seconds or so. So this kid would just trigger finger you, I swear that's not weird, gamers please understand, and never let you shoot back because the moment your vest turned on again, he'd shoot you. The staff couldn't do much about it, so that also sucked. But basically, after a bit, I got annoyed, and when he stepped around a corner, I got in front of him so he was trapped. He kept telling me to move, but since he was being a brat, I said no. After about 5 minutes, he decided he was over it and tried to punch me. Even though I was like 5 to 8 years older than him, any violence stresses me out, so I just put my hands out to stop him. But when I did, his fist hit my hand and it kinda looked like I caught his punch, according to my laser partner. He got scared and I let him go, and we finished the game. When everyone walked out, a lady approached me and looked pissed. She started accusing me of hitting her kid and whatnot and said I was gonna get fired. That was odd, but I got where she could have thought I worked there because the workers wore red staff shirts and I had a red shirt on from a swim meet I participated in. Anyways, she then got the actual staff to bring a manager around and started demanding I get sent home and fired, to which the manager responded, "Well, I was actually watching the cameras that view the arena and your son was the one who threw the only punch." And so she turned to her son and asked him, and when he gave a weird non-answer, she took him and left pretty quickly. Thankfully, nothing too bad happened and the staff let us play another game for free. I still lost. Call of Duty is way easier than the warscape that is laser tag. I feel like laser tag is one of those things that sounds super fun in practice, but all too often gets too affected adversely by either the people going there or the rules or faulty equipment, just way too many variables to absolutely ruin it all for people. And our final story of the day is by Hysterical Realist. Plot twist, I was with 2 of my managers at the I don't work here lady moment. In my day job, I've been working from home, give or take furlough, for the entire pandemic period. We're in the planning stages to finally move back into the office soon. To that end, I was tasked along with a couple of management-type people to head over to our local grocery store to price out supplies for a welcome back social event at the office. Cleaning supplies plus food-type things that we can put together in a grab-and-go style conference room function. So for context, the dress code for workers at this store incorporates a white dress shirt, black khaki pants, and a black name tag on the chest. Those who are still masked wear black masks with the store logo prominently displayed on the cheek. None of us office workers were dressed in any way remotely resembling this. But we were all carrying clipboards to take notes for later, when we were ready to come back and buy the stuff. Hence the confusion, I suppose. Karen of the generic hair arrived and without even a greeting, started up with her demands. "You guys are out of whatever product, I need you to go get some from the back." I say, "Oh, sorry. I know I'm carrying a clipboard, but I don't actually work here. You can tell any employee from how they're dressed, so I'm sure they'll be happy to help you." Karen of the generic hair didn't find this acceptable. "I do not find this acceptable," she repeated redundantly. "You either help me this instant or go get your manager who will fire you and then help me." Boss 1 happened to be nearby down the aisle, so I flagged her over. "You want to talk to my manager? Here she is," and I stepped aside. Karen lays into her, "You really need to train your employees better. This man," accompanied by a finger jab to my chest, "is refusing to help me. You need to review his employment status and then get me what I need." Boss 1 half ignores Karen and says to me, "Hey OP, did you get a second job at the store without telling me?" I answered, "Nope, I still work for you, not for them." She said, "Okay then, carry on. I'm sure this lady can find a store worker to help her." Now, one unfortunate aspect of the culture we live in is that a woman in authority is not always taken as seriously as she should be. It's doubly true for Boss 1, who, in addition to her gregarious personality, is also on the smaller size physically. Additionally, although she's in her mid-30s, she happens to look legitimately 12 years old. Karen, on the other hand, has reached red-hot status and has now found herself a second target. Karen says, "Unfreaking believable. I can't believe the disrespectful little children they let into this store. You are going to help me now or I will report you directly to the owner who goes to my church." That's when Boss 2 rounds the corner, witnesses the situation, and immediately figures out what's going on. One thing to know about Boss 2 is that in her physical characteristics, she's pretty much the opposite of Boss 1. She's 6 feet tall, she's very solidly built physically, she doesn't walk so much as she lumbers. She's ex-military and is fully trained to take charge in a wartime situation. Short version, this woman knows how to effectively take up the ample space she's been given. Bonus points, she's British and her accent gives her an extra weight of authority when she wants to flex her authority. She wanted to flex her authority. She walks up behind Karen and asks in her best command voice, "Is there a problem here?" Karen takes on a smug facial expression as if to say, "Finally, I found somebody competent." Then she turns around, takes a look at Boss 2 in her mountainous position directly behind her, and I see her face lose its smugness, and the only sound she can manage is a half-surprised, half-terrified squeak. Boss 2 says, "These people have told you already they don't work here. I suggest you walk away right now, perhaps leave the store, before things get a little more uncomfortable for you. Are we in agreement here?" Karen starts moving rapidly away in a manner I can only describe as scampering. I suspect she actually did leave the store because her face suggested she was unable to coexist in the same space as her abject embarrassment. And the three of us office types were able to finish our party planning and make it out of the store without further incident. And now my story's all told. It's kind of nice to have a boss that can back you up, but not only that, be the female equivalent of Jason Momoa, and be the towering mountain that sometimes you just need in your life. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories I've read today, which is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.